Welcome back to the MN Scorefeed Blitz. I'm Joel. That is the former Minnesota Vikings linebacker, Chad Greenway. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Joel. How's it going?
Doing very well. And, boy, one thing, we've been talking a lot of Twins and Vikings lately, and one thing we haven't talked about is high school sports. I mean, we're almost to the end of month number 1 here, and I would guess for you guys there at the MN Scorefeed app, it's been a nice start for you guys.
Yeah, it has. To launch it last year, kind of basically on this show, essentially. I mean, we kind of launched it into the ether and to see what would happen, see what would stick, and folks have really jumped on board with the app. They really have been supportive in a lot of ways. Some people just jump on and use it themselves, just get information and look at where their team's ranked or who they play and common opponent type stuff. And other folks are on there diligently updating scores, sitting in volleyball matches, updating every point all the way through, which we love. We love all the updates. A lot of people, some folks it's an administrator, some folks it's a coach, some folks it's parents, and they jump on and be a fan scorer for us and keep these games live, up to the minute. We have a team obviously behind the scenes that watches and updates as well, but the interactive piece of Minnesota Scorefeed is really what makes it special and sets it apart. And you're not waiting for the 10 o'clock news to get updates. You're getting games live as they end and impact your team. Either your own game or games that you're watching to see how it affects your team's outcome and ranking. So, been really fun. And like you said, once you get rolling in fall sports, man, it gets going fast. It's a ball gets rolling downhill.
Well, and there's been some really nice weather to get out to games, whether it's a soccer game outside or a football game. I know volleyball's inside, so the weather doesn't really affect that a whole lot. But for you guys, for you personally, do you go out and get to see any high school sports here this fall?
Yeah, my daughter's playing high school soccer, so we are in the thick of high school soccer season. Province Academy is ranked, I think we're up to 5 maybe in Class 1A.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun following that. She played. She hasn't played high school soccer before. This is her first year as a freshman, so we're having a lot of fun doing that. And then on the football side, of course, as far as the app goes, football and volleyball, I get a chance to watch Province Academy where my kids go. Then I follow a lot of other programs closely. Got some friends that play down in Lakeville. Been watching them. Obviously, my friends out in Hutch, watching them. Made a couple connections out at Dilworth. DGF, been watching them. They have a nice football team. It's just fun to track all these teams. And, as I've kind of been around here a lot longer now in the high school world, really starting to understand kind of the landscape of high school football and the depth, especially out where you are on the west side. I mean, really, really good high school football from small towns all the way up.
And now, we get to end of September here, you start to think, playoffs already. And whether that's soccer for your family or for football or for volleyball, I mean, once you get to this end of the season, you're kind of focused a little bit and trying to get ready for what you got to do come October here.
Yeah, it's kind of my first, like I said, my first time having a fall sport, and it goes so quick. This season seems a lot shorter than the winter season with basketball. So soccer specifically is coming on you. I think they only got 5 games left, and before you know it, you'll be in sections, and away you go. And football obviously is already 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, and you start to realize that this is, you kind of start to see your positioning, ranking, standings through the app pretty quickly. And this transition from September to October is massive, really is, because these couple weeks here really tell a tale for a lot of teams.
Want to quickly shift since we're kind of switching season here a little bit. The Minnesota Wild start preseason games this weekend. So even though it's still really nice weather outside, we got some winter sports going on here. And I know for the Wild, we talked about them last year when they were playing. Good regular season, disappointing playoffs. I mean, how do you, if that's your personal off season, how do you approach this new season now?
It's frustrating because you leave so much out there on the ice for those guys, right? Because you have such a season of really building excitement, and then the letdown. And really, we talked about this on this show. It's just the matchup stunk, right? And we just didn't like the matchup at all. And just how things played out really kind of stunk for the Wild. But that's not an excuse. You got to win the teams that are on your schedule. It's just the way it goes. But nonetheless, I think you got to be fired up for some of the changes they've made. I think you have to be fired up to have a really strong regular season again, which in turn, all you can do is ask for an opportunity. And that's what we've done is got an opportunity last year and put yourself in the game. And we just didn't quite get it done. Hopefully this year we can be a different outcome.
Now, I know you could speak to the football side, and I would guess hockey is probably the same way, but when you enter the preseason, whatever that sport is, I mean, do players have their own routines that they like to get done? They like to, okay, I know when I got to ramp this up and ramp that up, and do they kind of know going in what they want to get done?
Oh yeah. And hockey guys, I know enough hockey guys to know that they're a little wacky out there now in their mind. So there's a mindset you want to play out in the preseason. There's things you want to accomplish. There's a feeling you want to get to, and it's all about those guys getting to that feeling of say, okay, you know what, I'm ready now. The season can start. I'm ready to rock. I kind of checked all these boxes off and feel good about where my game's at. Actually, played pickleball today with Nate Prosser, and former NHL guy and a beloved Minnesota Wild player and just beloved Minnesota in general from Elk River. And, we talked about that, just, his build up to a season and what that looks like and how it plays out. And he's a defenseman, right? You look at the forwards, they have a different mentality. The centermen have a different mentality. So it's just fun to see each sport, how it's a little different.
We'll shift our conversation over to football. Chad's favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. We'll talk about that after this break right here on KDUZ. Back here on the MN Scorefeed Blitz, I'm Joel. That is Chad, and we're talking now here in this segment. Chad's favorite NFL team. I better say your favorite NFL team because I'm not sure. I don't know if I asked you the question ever, Chad. Which is your favorite, the Vikings or the Iowa Hawkeyes, or do you have a favorite between those two?
Oh man, now that I'm a fan on the other side, they frustrate me in different ways, like any other fan. I think it's. You go to Iowa for 4 years, and I had a great experience there. I really loved my time. I mean, just really incredible people, and that 4 years, because I think it's because you're coming of age and you're kind of becoming an adult, and it kind of sticks with you. So I think it's probably I don't know. I was gonna say lean towards my college team, but then you play for the Vikes for 11 years, and 11 years is 11 years, man. I mean, I am purple through and through to the point where I stuck it out and stayed and wanted to finish my career here. So I don't know that I could pick one or the other. I think it's impossible.
All right, well then we'll go with one of your two favorite teams then, and the Vikings, as far as that matter on the field, they were kind of 1-1. They kind of split their first two games here. What'd you see in the first two that you liked about the Vikings? First of all.
Well, man, I mean, first week, just loved the approach. I mean, it really did. I thought Coach did a really nice job of using the advantage of not having played any games. Really important. Never coached the game before. He came out just kind of firing and loved the aggressive nature, loved the mentality, loved the play calling, kind of everything encompassing. I really just felt really good about it. And then, this next week, you have to take into account where the situation, right? Every game is its own life, and to go into Philly on Monday night, we know Kirk's record on Monday night is not great. You have to go to Philly, one of the toughest places to play against one of the best teams in the NFC, and you look at the opportunities that we had that we missed. I mean, drop ball by Irv Smith, several turnovers that we couldn't cash in on, the blocked field goal we couldn't cash in on for a touchdown. And Kirk obviously had his dismal second half, and you look at it like, man, it's the game of missed opportunities because we're in that thing. Even down 24-7, we're in the game all day long. It was going to take that one play, and we got those opportunities. We just couldn't cash in. So really kind of the yin and yang. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I've seen a more yin and yang first 2 weeks of a team, maybe ever. And I think what you have to look at is from a coaching standpoint is they have to learn now, right? And now people have seen you. They have to adjust. You have to adjust and say, where do we go from here after that week? And you have a massive early game against the Lions, who we know is going to be a hard out, who we know these are not the Lions from a decade ago. This game is going to be a really tough game, and I'm really looking forward to how we react as a team.
Well, for me, what I saw the first 2 weeks, I mean, to me, I think the offense is going to be fine. I've seen enough of the offense. I know it wasn't great against Philadelphia, but there were some things there. But I think the offense is going to be good. But I don't know if we figured anything out in the defense yet. There's maybe still more question marks. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I think there's still more question marks on the defense than there is the offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the biggest thing you look at is the way they sliced and diced in those first two possessions. I mean, really was, for lack of a better word, worrisome. I mean, really concerned about ability to kind of get up and down the field, do what they wanted, hit the receivers they wanted to hit, and keep things moving. It was a bit concerning.
You mentioned the Lions this weekend. It's not, as you mentioned, it's not the Lions of old, but it still is the Lions. It still is a team that you probably should beat this weekend, correct?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I think it's a team that we need to beat. I mean, it's a home game. You're putting Jared Allen's name up in the rafters. You got Johnny Randall serving at the Grey Duck Bar. I mean, we're stirring the echoes here. I mean, for lack of a better way to go. I mean, we got to get a win this week. I mean, at the end of the day, a home game in the NFL is a game you have to win if you want to hold serve and move on. And it's a game, quite honestly, we can win. Now they're going to come in there and give us their best effort, and they're going to be tough out. But that doesn't mean you can't go get this dub.
You mentioned Jared Allen going into the Ring of Honor. Best Jared Allen story you have that we can air on the radio?
Oh, it'd have to be my house in Eden Prairie, Halloween party. He comes as Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell, and in the wrestling singlet, and just, of course, we had just an absolute blast. I mean, Jared's always up for a good time, and that was before he was kind of tamed by his wife and brought back to earth a little bit. So he was a little bit of a wild man, but man, we have a good time, and we, as a teammate, you can't pick a better guy. I mean, always there for you, always had a great time, and it really made going to work fun.
Almost time to wrap up, but I do want to make mention of the fact that the Vikings next week, before you and I chat again, they're going to London. I believe, if I saw that correctly, they got a really early game next week. So, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had one game for you over in London, or am I misremembering that?
Yep, no, you're right. Yeah, we had one game against the Steelers. I want to say it was 2013 is my best guess on that as the years blend together. But man, we were the home, quote unquote, home team, so we got to go up there for the full week and had an absolute blast. Just beautiful area where we got to practice and stay, and then we moved downtown to London for the last 3 days and stayed right in downtown, across from Hyde Park. Just a unique experience across the board, and I think. For these guys, it is just going to be special. And then the thing you have to think about is this has to be a win for us. I mean, you have to go over there and make this an advantage. And I think that comes down to coach taking care of the guys, getting their mind right, and showing up on game day ready to play.
Does it take time to adjust? Because there is a little bit of that time difference. I mean, not a ton, but there's a little bit of that difference. Does it take time to adjust to playing football over there?
Yeah, we took the red eye over. So the idea was sleep on the red eye. When you wake up, when you get there, it's gonna be like 9, 10 a.m. And I think it was like 8 a.m. when we landed. And they just basically we went right to the practice field and had a practice, and basically said don't go to sleep until bedtime at 9 o'clock. And we went to bed at 9, 10 o'clock, and kind of got back on our schedule, and that really helped us. And having a few extra days to kind of connect, because the Steelers actually came in midweek, which made it much harder for them than us. So we had the better end of that deal.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks for coming on the program again. We'll chat in a couple of weeks, Chad.
You bet, Joel. Thanks a lot. See you.
Thank you. Chad Greenway, former Minnesota Vikings linebacker, and Scorefeed Blitz on KDUZ.